Welcome to our traditional division flip video. Please pause at any time if you need to, and remember, ask your teachers if you have any questions, and make sure that you have your homework sheet available. Let's start with what is division. Division is the splitting of larger numbers into smaller numbers. Division undoes multiplication. Now, we have some more vocabulary that we're reviewing. Your quotient, that's the answer to a division problem. It lives on top of the house. Dividend, that's the number that lives in the house, the number you break down. And your divisor, that is the number that you divide. So pause anytime you need to fill in your vocabulary. Okay, let's talk about our strategy that we use for the traditional way of division. It is, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? And yes, they do. So this right here is going to be your dividend. This number is your divisor. And your answer is going to be your quotient. So I'm just going to do the traditional division right now. No more big 7 with it going all the way down. 86 is going to go in the house, and 4 is going to go on the outside. So now I'm just going to ask, how many times does 4 go into 8? So that's the divide. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. Then I'm going to do subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. And then I'm going to do bring down for the burgers. And I'm going to bring down the 6. Then I like to make a new division problem. How many times does 4 go into 6? Well, I know 4 goes into 6 one time. Then I'm going to do my multiply. 4 times this one up here, not anything up here, all the way back up to the top. 4 times 1 is 4. Then I'm going to do subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Is there anything left to bring down? No. This is my remainder. Is my remainder smaller than my divisor? Yes. So my remainder is 2. If I wanted to check this, 21 times 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus the remainder of 2 is 86. And it checks here and it checks here. Let's practice another one. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? 97, which is my dividend, goes in the house. And my divisor goes on the outside of the house. Sorry, that's 4. And then I'm going to say, how many times does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, does 4 go into 9? Well, 4 goes into 9 2 times. Then I'm going to do multiply, and I put a multiplication symbol here to help me. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract. Now I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 8 is what? 1. And then I'm going to check. Do I have anything to bring down? Yes. Cheeseburgers. I'm checking. I have to bring down my 7. And then I'm going to make a new division problem. Now, I'm going to put the 4 out here. And I'm going to say, how many times does 4 go into 17? Well, I know 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to put the 4 up here. 4 times this 4, not the number 2, 4, is 16. And then I'm going to subtract. And that's 1. Check. Is this smaller than this? Yes, it is. Is there anything left to bring down? No. So my answer is 24, remainder 1. 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Bring the 1 up here. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. I have to add my remainder. So add the number 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 97. Do these check out? Yes, and I am done. Now I'm going to move on. I got a big number now. I'm going to put 608. And then I'm going to put 6 on the outside of the house. And then I'm going to start my steps all over again. How many times does 6 go into 6? 6 goes into 6 one time. Multiply. 6 times 1 is 6. Then I'm going to subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0. And then I'm going to check. Is there anything else to bring down? Yes, a 0. Now, some of you may say, well, it's 0. There's no steps. You still have to go through the steps. How many times does 6 go into 0? 0 times. 6 times 0 is 0. 0 minus zeros is 0. Check. Is there anything else to bring down? Yes. The number 8. Then I make a new division problem. How many times dividing does 6 go into 8? 1 time. 6 times this one is 6. Subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. Is 2 smaller than 6? Yes. Is there anything else to bring down? No, so I have a remainder of 2. Just because you get a 0 does not mean you don't go through the steps. You still have to go through all of the steps. I know it seems crazy, but you have to, because if I didn't go through the steps, my answer would have been 11 instead of 101. Go through the steps even though there's a 0. Go through all the steps until there's nothing left to bring down. Okay, 80 divided by 8. How many times, let's start with does. How many times does 8 go into 8? 1. Multiply. 8 times 1 is 8. Subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. Bring down. Check and see if there's anything to bring down. There is 8. How many times? Make a new division problem. Does 8 go into 8? 1. 8 times 8 is 8, or 8 times 1, sorry, is 8. Subtract. That is 0. Now, is there something still to bring down? That's the check. Yes, there is still a 0 to bring down. Is my answer 11? No, because I still have to go through the steps. Even though there's a 0, I still have to go through all the crazy steps. So, how many times does 8 go into 0? 0. What is 8 times 0? 0. What is 0 minus 0? 0. Do I have a remainder? No. So I am done. Please make sure that you still go through all those steps. Even though you're doing a whole bunch of zeros, you have to go through the steps. Otherwise my answer would have been 11 here. Okay, next problem. 123 divided by 6. I have a problem. Can 6 go into 1? No. So I have to include both of these numbers now. 6 cannot go into 1. I don't have to do all the zeros for this one, but I do have to say 6 cannot go into 1. So I have to make it 12. How many times does 6 go into 12? Well, 6 goes into 12 twice. 6, next up, McDonald's. 6 times 2 is 12. Then I need to do 12 minus 12 is 0 and bring down the 3. Now, I make a new division problem. How many times does 6 go into 3? It can't. Do I just stop and say 3 is my remainder? No, I have to put a 0 up here. And I have to say 6 times 0, 0, subtract 3. Now, is there a check? Is there anything else to bring down? No. So now I can put that my remainder is 3. In this case, my problem would have been 2 instead of 3. And if you go back and check it, it wouldn't have worked. But if I check 20 times 6, which I can just use my quick math, and I know that 6 times 2 is 12 and put a 0 at the end, and then add 3, my answer is 123. So if I hadn't been able to finish my steps out, I would have just gotten 2 remainder 3. Well, 6 times 2 is 12 with a remainder of 3 is 15. So my checking wouldn't have worked. You have to go through all of the steps. So please watch this video again, especially with those last 3 tricky scenarios that I showed you. Happy flipping, and watch this video as many times as you need to and ask as many questions as you need to. Okay, I have a little surprise at the end for you, so I hope you enjoy it, and happy flipping.